Please don't lower the lights. It looks really dark on there. It looks really, Kenny, I'm telling you, it looks really dark on here. Just let it be, please.
I feel like they're just in my face and I just want to relax.
No, stop. Listen to me. Listen, Kenny. I need you to stop.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Tell me about the show. Tell me about what. Look, now you got me going low. Oh, you happy?
I know. I gotta go low.
Yeah. Welcome to Classic Blend 77.
Welcome to the podcast.
Okay.
This is your weekly reminder that we have videos to watch. This is also your weekly reminder that we did not forget about you, and we are continuing the podcast portion of the show.
You know what I like? I like that you can hear the crickets outside.
It's the best part about this.
It's the best part that you can hear. It literally sounds like we're doing this in a campfire. Like we're out, you know.
Who says
you know
we're
what?
not, man?
You hear the little crackle of the... Should we put the fireplace on? We should put the fireplace on. No, we're not putting that fireplace on. Anyway, guys, in episode 77, we got some things. We had some movies. We had some TV shows, and then we had some cartoons.
Yeah.
And we had a couple of video games. And you know, for the movies, we had a movie called... Kenny had Firestarter, which is awesome. Now, I loved Firestarter when I was a kid. I want to say... Did you like that movie? Did you watch that movie? You never saw it?
For some reason, it's just a lot of the Stephen King stuff I never saw.
Why?
I did see Misery because I read the book. I remember it being a big deal when that came out. I know.
Right.
I saw...
It's like being like,
I kind of saw the beginning of the original Creep Show, like with the plant guy, Stephen King or whatever was in there.
That's a good one.
I don't really remember much of the other one. Creep Show 2 now.
The Lake.
I saw that.
Yeah, that was good. Thanks for the ride, lady.
And that was a creepy movie.
That was a good one. That was a good movie.
I don't know how they didn't make any more after that. But I did see that. What else? What other Stephen King movies?
Rubbing his face. Remember him when he used to be mad at me for rubbing my face when I was tired?
I'm thinking. I think I saw Tommy Knockers, which was a made-for-TV kind of miniseries.
All right, check it out. I
don't think I saw anything else. And let's not even go into Langoliers. Was that Stephen King?
Yeah.
Ridiculous,
it
man.
Was. The thing about Langoliers is that Firestarter. Firestarter was a very cool movie. I enjoyed it a lot. We got another movie with Clint Eastwood called Every Which Way But Loose. This was, I said this on in the movie section video, is that this was a comedy. It was an adventure comedy where Clint Eastwood, you know, he wasn't known for comedy. He was in the spaghetti westerns. He was in the Dirty Harry movies.
Yeah.
People said, you're going to ruin your career by, you know, going in this, you know? What do we got? Anything good?
Hey, the Spaz, what's happening?
No, thank you, the Spaz. I appreciate that. See, the picture does look fine. Yeah. If you were watching us earlier, you'd see that we had the lights up.
Yeah.
And now we turn them off because it's time to wind down. This is our wind down. Anyway, I was saying Clint Eastwood.
How you been? You still out there?
Let's say hi to us again. Yeah, we are, if you didn't know, we are streaming this live. If you're listening to us and it's the first time you're hearing this podcast version, we are streaming this live on Twitch every Monday night. This is a Monday night when we're recording this, so that's
and we want people to come hang out with us.
Anyway, I want to finish telling you about this. This movie, Every Which Way But Loose, and its sequel, Any Which Way You Can.
Yeah.
2 highest grossing Clint Eastwood movies.
Good to hear it.
You know, it had an orangutan in it, man.
Do you like orangutans? Have you ever seen Any Which Way But Loose?
Because this movie he was a brawler, bro.
He was a brawler?
What did we do? We made it called Icestarter. We made Clyde the orangutan.
Yes.
Get lost and find Charlie the Firestarter, Drew Barrymore. Mm-hmm. And she, through creative sign language that you so vividly described to us, you know?
That's right. I remember that.
Bare knuckle fighter. That's right. He was absolutely a bare knuckle fighter.
Okay.
You know what the cool thing about this show, this movie, Any Which Way But Loose, is that we've now unlocked it, which means we can watch it and do a commentary on it.
Yes.
Which I'm excited to do because this was a wacky movie.
During the episode, Classic Blend Movie 77, I did come up with the query: what is Clint Eastwood's? Is Clint short
what's
for
his
Clinton?
Name? Yeah, what's his full name? Yeah, what's his full name? Did you look it up?
It is Clinton Eastwood Jr. Clinton Eastwood Jr. So
his son Scott, right? Scott Eastwood, is that his son? His son's.
Yeah, I believe he has a son named Scott.
Now let me ask you this: we used the obvious Orangutan as the sequel. But
that was.
I wish
I'm gonna tell you, Chris. This is kind of like a situation where you had Speed and Speed 2 Cruise Control.
Yeah. Okay.
Keanu didn't show up for the sequel.
He did not show up.
Sandra Bullock did.
She did, yes.
Okay. If Clint Eastwood didn't show up,
Sidekick. You're saying the sidekick showed up.
I'm gonna tell you, Clint Eastwood.
It would have been a sequel.
Yeah, I'm surprised he showed up in the sequel. The Orangutan was moving on. Clyde was moving on to the sequel, no matter what.
Yeah.
Same with. Listen, Short Circuit 2. Johnny Five moved on. Steve Guttenberg did not.
That's true.
Is that not wrong?
That's true. Yeah. I mean, look. What are you gonna do?
That's usually what happens.
We gave him ice powers. Actually, we didn't say that.
Well,
we gave Clyde ice
cryokinesis, Chris.
Cryokinesis. Yeah, ice powers. I'm not calling him Iceman.
Let's
I'm not calling
not
him,
say
I'm
not
calling him Bobby.
Yeah,
but he's cryokinesis is really cool.
Cryokinesis. That's the way
We were gonna call this a Song of Fire and Ice.
No, we won't.
Sounds like it was something that was taken already. Anyway, cool movie. I'm excited. I want to watch Every Which Way But Loose. I want to do a commentary for it. What do you think? Let's move
You
on.
want to do a commentary for everything.
What about let's do TV shows. We had
oh gosh.
it's good. We had My So-Called Life and the Brady Bunch.
Correct.
So we ripped off the Brady movies from the 90s,
Yes,
and we
Chris
put
wanted
them
to do
in
that.
the 90s like they were in the movies,
Yep.
only on TV with Claire Danes.
So Claire Danes, miserable Claire Danes from My So-Called Life,
She wasn't always miserable.
because being a teenager is so difficult.
It's so hard.
It's so hard, but only the whole world gets through it.
Right. So hard.
Yeah, everything is just so hard.
It was Lava Lamp. Dope. Anyway, yeah, so I think it'd be
The
fun to go.
orangutan was for his brother's junkyard. He used to junk the cars for them.
Yep.
Yeah, listen up. I'm going to tell you about this whole 80s thing. We give or take 5 years, you know what I mean? So we go from like the 80s, 5 years before, so about 75-ish, and then 5 years after, 95-ish.
Right.
That's our ish, right?
That's the ish,
The 80s,
yeah.
give or take 5 years. Because, listen, like I say, 1979, New Year's Eve, it didn't just hit the stroke of midnight and all bell bottoms and wood paneling disappeared. It didn't happen. There was a gray area. There was a little bit
There was
of
a bleed
blending.
over. There was a blend over. There was a bleed in.
There was a
Yeah.
bleed over. Not everybody dished their leg warmers once it hit midnight on January 1st, 1990.
Those things went strong till
You know what
about
I mean?
85, 86.
Well, no, not 85, 86. You mean 90.
No, I'm sorry. That's what
So
I meant,
nice.
yeah.
So that's how we do that. Also, as being younger and watching TV, there were a lot of reruns on TV. You watch syndication
Okay, cool.
and stuff like that. You watched there was a lot of you watched The Odd Couple, even though The Odd Couple was years ago. The Brady Bunch ended in 74. It was still on TV.
He gets it there. Everyone.
I know, but I'm just letting everybody know.
Everybody in the
That's
world.
that's why we kind of justified this, and you'll find out we had I Dream of Jeannie.
Well, also there were tons of Brady
a
stuff
lot of stuff
happening
like
in the
that.
80s too. So anyway, having said all that, yeah. Well, look, we decided to rip off the movies and put it in the TV realm for the small screen. I think it's hilarious because you're following these characters. You're following Angela Chase, played by Claire Danes, being like, "My life sucks,"
And then you get the Brady's oh, what's
Yeah.
up, groovy girl?
Hey, foxy lady.
What is
Yeah,
wrong with
so
it?
it's good,
The
man.
thing is, you've been in a bad mood.
Yeah.
You've been in a bad mood here. You've been in a bad mood tonight.
I was in a bad mood right before we started all this recording tonight.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. heck
So, what I'm going to say with that is the last thing you want when you're in a bad mood is somebody
dancing around you and being like, it's
messing
groovy,
around
it's
with you.
good, I want,
you want to get this stupid computer work, and you're sitting there and you're making
Listen,
jokes, cracking jokes about
You're saying facts. What you're saying now is
things.
facts.
If somebody says I hate this stupid computer, and somebody goes, you have an ear hair poking out of you.
Right, yeah.
You want to hit that person so bad.
Yeah. Wait, do I? I thought I got those. I did. I shaved them.
You
I
shaved
plucked
your
them.
hairs?
Yeah, well, you pluck them and then you
pluck
shave
them,
around
you
the
shave
yeah,
them?
you
Oh,
gotta
is that
shave
right?
around
Oh,
them,
really?
Yeah.
It doesn't get rough?
Yeah. No, then you
rough?
pluck them, man. It's the last 20 minutes before you go to bed. You're in the mirror when you're old like us,
And it's dude, I just plucked you last night.
Yeah, seriously.
How are you back already?
How about nose hair, dude? All of a sudden, it's like, you're like, whoa! Where did you come from? What is happening right now? I've got to get to the bathroom right now. Why was that burrito coming up? No, nose hair. No, it's nuts. Getting older is fun. It's fun, man. What I liked about this was that
Teenage angst, indeed. It's still going on.
It's still,
it
hey,
never
listen,
ends.
it never ends. My So-Called Life ended in a cliffhanger. They thought they were coming back for a season 2, and
Yes.
they did not.
And that was the fun where
And that's just, you know,
I brought up
Yeah.
Sledgehammer.
where they decided that they weren't gonna be on a second season, so they just
were
did
like,
a
we're not coming
cliffhanger.
back. We're just gonna put it in an impossible, stupid situation. And then the producers renewed it on that cliffhanger, saying we need to see how they get out of this.
Yeah. It's good stuff, man.
That's kind of.
We should watch an episode of that too.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Moving on to cartoons, Kenny's favorite section.
Classic Blend Cartoon 77.
Again, you can watch all these videos on YouTube, the fully edited stuff, or you can go back on Twitch and watch us record it live. But YouTube's got the graphics and it's cut down, pared down. It's nice, you know. It's less than 15 minutes. And we had Kenny had G.I. Joe, which is wonderful, and I had Mr. Benn, which is not as wonderful.
Anybody hear of Mr. Benn? Two N's.
Mr. Benn, 2 N's. It was a British show. Again, early 70s. I should have flagged that, but you know what? Hey, listen,
Really?
when you gotta
Yeah, you should have.
when you got a couple of
interesting concept that did work in our favor.
yeah.
However-
it was on the BBC syndicated, so
However,
you know, Mr. Benn was a show
know.
where he would walk out of his house. He wore a black suit and a bowler hat. Walked out of his house, went into a costume shop in which the owner said, "Hey, try this on," and he'd try a costume on like a zookeeper or you know a safari person or whatever it was, and then he'd go into a magical door through the back of the store, and he'd end up in that world, and he'd have a little adventure. And at the end of the adventure, the shop owner, the mustachioed fez-wearing shop owner, would come back and say, "Hey, it's time to go home." And he'd go, "Okay," but not before he gets a little souvenir. And then he goes home, puts a souvenir somewhere, and that's it. That's good.
That's what
you
they
know?
did. And yes, Spaz.
I feel bad for kids today.
Yeah,
Every Saturday from 6 a.m. Yeah.
it was nothing but cartoons. He talked about Saved by the Bell and stuff like that. I didn't like when those shows started creeping into the Saturday morning cartoon lineup. Is when I felt protective of the cartoons. Like Saturday mornings were for cartoons, yes, and you tried to get up earlier because there were certain cartoons that were on so early that you could only catch them, and it was once a week. So you kind of force yourself. I have to get up and start watching at like 6.
Because you knew if you got up at 8, you were missing
You missed a bunch.
all this stuff.
Yeah. So you'd force yourself to get up earlier and watch as much as you can. But that's the thing is they don't have that anymore, and I don't know what happened.
But do they? I don't know. Do they?
Do they what? They don't have it anymore. No, it's pretty much done. There are.
I mean, not on
Cartoon
network television
and there's
anymore, but now there's Cartoon
Nickelodeon
Network
and Disney Channel,
and Disney, yeah.
and this is where the kids get
have
their
Boomerang,
stuff.
right?
Listen,
That's supposed to
not
be-
too long ago. I don't know if anybody subscribes to a channel on YouTube called Toy Galaxy. It's a pretty big channel about toys. They recently had within the last maybe a week ago, maybe within the past 2 weeks, let's say, the history of Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh.
And in there, it kind of alluded to the fact that they started to put. I don't want to say it was FCC guidelines or anything like that, but it started to be like you needed to have value,
specific things in the show.
It needed to be you need to have some sort of value for the kids to watch the show,
Right.
And that's basically what killed the Saturday morning cartoon. So I'd probably check out that video.
You know what's interesting about that?
Yeah, it's
Cartoon
not the same.
Network.
Yeah.
So Cartoon Network, I feel like it worked out well for us because as we got older and as Saturday
we
morning
still had the
cartoons
X-Men
were
cartoon,
fading
and
out.
that was like I was probably
90-something.
scratching high school at that point.
Yeah, but as those were fading out for us, we had the Cartoon Network, which I watched a lot of.
Yeah.
That's where I first saw Dragon Ball Z. That's where I saw Gundam, like on Cartoon Network. Toonami. Toonami was really where I watched all that stuff, but that's all Cartoon Network.
Yeah, G.I. Joe, they had guns. Transformers, they had guns. Thundercats, they had swords.
Right. And
know?
guns. Everyone had.
So,
you know, but the thing is, Kenny doesn't like the fact that they did like Saved by the Bell or Going
but
Bananas.
I also don't like
what?
the fact that they had the cartoons that everything turned into talking animals. Like you look at cartoons today, and everything's like, oh, there's Mickey Mouse hanging out. Oh, there's Winnie the Pooh hanging out. And yes, that stuff was around back in the day also, but let's face it, like everything now is weak. Like weak.
But not
And it's all
everything was
computer
talking
generated.
animals back then.
Like
because
what's
they had-
wrong with cell animation? There's nothing wrong with that. Like everything is
I don't
like
mind
computer now.
Look, I love you know me. I love computer animation. But
I just feel like here's another thing I had. G.I. Joe, it was like let's make this realistic. Thundercats, they were like kind of let's make this realistic. Masters of the Universe, let's make this realistic. And then they go into this stuff where they have these exaggerated features where everybody's got big eyes and big heads and little feet and little arms.
But that's just you just don't like that style.
But it's moved into everything. It's everything.
But kids look now at our cartoons and they're like, that looks stupid because they have little heads and little eyes and
they look like normal
people.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's all relative. It's all relative. Either way, I said this in the video version, in the video portion. It's like those are my shows regardless, If I had to get up early and vacuum or dust or whatever, that was my chores. I had to vacuum the downstairs and do dusting, right? I'd get up and I'd get that done so I know I wouldn't be bothered until about noon.
They did reuse a lot of scenes in the cell shading, though. A lot of scenes. Skeletor laughing.
It's cost effective.
Yeah, He-Man, I have the power. Like, a lot of that stuff was
Don't
recycled.
Forget, they were humping something out, every week. And
well, yeah, but some of the stuff was every
day after school, all that after,
Yeah. I mean, yes, they did find a cheaper way to make it, as surprisingly as that sounds, because computer generated graphics for a while was very expensive.
Well, yeah.
Special effects in general were very expensive.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But now it's easy to do, and it's
canned.
Look, I don't mind.
I
don't mind. Look, it's whatever you need to do to get it out. I don't mind it.
But I miss that art. I miss the style of it. I miss that. I do.
I know you really miss rotoscoping. I know.
I hate rotoscoping.
You miss it so much.
But I miss that artistic drawing every single.
Okay, but hold on a second. Hold on. So Transformers the movie, G.I. Joe the movie.
Huh.
Okay. Did He-Man have a movie?
No.
Yeah,
well, yeah, they had the Secret of the Sword. That was the one where they introduced She-Ra.
They had specials.
No, they had a movie in a movie theater. I went to see it. Right. Secret of the Sword.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like those were special occasions.
Yeah.
The animation was top notch. It was great. Yeah. You go watch the show. And it's
garbage.
Crap. It's garbage.
The animation errors all over Transformers.
Because
they're different sizes.
Yeah. The colors completely off from scene to scene.
Yeah.
You know? But you had to get it out.
There's one where Optimus had an arm taken off and like Megatron put it on top of like a building and it was like shooting at the Autobots and everything. And Optimus was supposed to not have an arm. And then there was just like one scene in there where he had both of his arms. And it's like, he's shooting the gun, or the gun is shooting him with his arm, and he's got both of his arms. It's like, how did you guys mess that up? But they did.
But this is what's funny is that Kenny noticed that. Meanwhile, Kenny couldn't figure out how they got Orko to float.
Yeah. But I was little.
Without strings, or why Bo and Luke Duke would get wet in the cartoon and get out of the water and then be dry when they got out of the water.
I didn't understand that it wasn't real. I didn't understand it wasn't real, Chris.
So you didn't understand that it was drawn.
I didn't understand. Yes, either I didn't understand that it was drawn and it wasn't real, or I didn't understand that they didn't take the time to make it realistic. It was one of the two. Like, if you're gonna make Orko float, put the strings in there. If you're gonna have Bo in the water and he gets out, make him wet. So it was one of the two, and I can't vouch because it's been a few years, Chris. It's been a little while. It's been a little while.
Anyway, that's cartoons. Yeah, that means good. So we called it. We didn't even say what we did. We took Mr. Benn and we had him have all of the G.I. Joe costumes. Yeah. And he'd put on like Snake Eyes, and he'd go through the door, and now he's Snake Eyes. And
it's cool. But that's the thing there were missions in his life, or there were situations in his life, Mr. Benn's life, where he needed to use the Joes or the Cobras.
You said that he could,
to basically solve problems.
Okay, yeah.
So if he had an issue where he needed to get in someplace, he could become like the locksmith of the Joes or something like that. You know,
whatever. We called it G.I.
His name was probably like
I wanted to call it.
His name Lockjaw.
What did I want to call it?
Like the locksmith for the G.I.
Lockjaw.
Joe.
Didn't they have Lockjaw? Lockjaw was
locksmith.
Lockjaw was from not He-Man. No,
Trapjaw.
He-Man. Trapjaw. There's also Lockjaw. Definitely Lockjaw.
Trapjaw was
something.
A cool figure. Do you have He-Man figures? He had the
thing.
He had the thing, and he had the circle on
the
head.
Thing,
but you could put him on a string and just zip him down like a zip line.
Oh, that stupid arm. Speaking. So last night on Netflix, I finally got around to watching the Toys That Made Us, a He-Man episode, and remembering some of the cartoon. It was drawn so bad. It was just like. He was fighting with like netted arms. You need to watch it.
It's just like Skeletor, like.
Yeah,
his voice
is so bad.
His voice was like this. Like, don't lie, I'm going to get you, He-Man.
Well, they said that was more entertaining than having like. They wanted to have like this deep demon voice.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's really nuts.
Yeah. A Bond movie. Wait, what? What is
Yeah.
that? What do you mean? Oh, like, okay, yeah. Oh, with Mr. Benn? Is that what you mean? Mr. Benn?
Oh, kind of. Well, yeah, the British love their spies.
Yeah. I wanted to call it Action Force. No, I wanted to call it Mr. Ben's Action Force or Mr. Ben in
Ben's.
Action
Yeah,
Force or
something like
something.
that. I don't know.
Whatever.
I don't
Anyway,
know. Game time.
We're gonna move on to the video games.
Classic Blend Games 77.
Game episodes come out on Thursdays.
Yeah,
on
Thursdays.
YouTube. Yeah.
He got confused a little bit. Where in time is
confused.
Carmen Sandiego? You didn't know which one you were getting there.
I got,
Oh, Lockjaw in Bond. I think they just.
Oh,
had,
yes.
They just had
Thank
Jaws,
you, yeah.
right? They had Jaws. Wasn't his name Jaws?
Was his name?
There was Jaws. The guy with the metal teeth or whatever like that. I remember him
name
in
was Jaws?
GoldenEye. Yeah, in the game. There
Oh,
was
from
GoldenEye, there was
GoldenEye,
Lockjaw,
right? Yeah.
Jaws. See, yeah, there you go.
Okay. So,
Good deal.
all right. So now, back to video games. So video games, like I said, every Thursday, you're going to get a new video game episode of Classic Blend. This week, yes, I messed up. It wasn't Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. It was Where in Time for SNES. And I'm dumb, so I apologize.
He is.
But we
On a daily basis.
we did correct that. Kenny had Boot Camp by Konami on in the arcade for the arcade.
You play Boot Camp in the arcade. That game was awesome. It was just one of those arcade experiences. It had the trackball, and you moved it around, and you shot the targets, and I don't remember how you ran. I know there was the obstacle course in the beginning. I don't remember
Jump
how you got
maybe
there.
or something? I
I
never
don't
played it. I
remember.
don't know.
I don't remember. There might have been a
played it.
jump button and a joystick too. I have no idea. But there was. I remember the trackball there.
Well, I know you and I are fans of trackballs. We put that in a lot of our
Yeah,
games.
I know.
So we created a game called Combat Ages where we took the concept of going through time, and you had to do boot camp all throughout time. There was no sleuthing or anything. Kenny shot me down on that. He didn't want me to do any of
I
that.
thought the word was sleuthing.
Sleuthing? What did I say?
like
Sleuthing?
sleuthing.
Sleuthing, yeah.
There's no sleuthing.
Sleuthing. It's the same
See,
thing.
here's the game. Boot Camp.
Yeah, great. That's,
See it?
Yeah, sure.
The trackballs.
Yeah. Oh, so it didn't have a joystick.
Yeah, I guess not.
So yeah, so if you're gonna be like, you get to train to be a knight, you get to train to be like maybe like a World War II soldier, you get to be trained to be, maybe like a what were they in like India? Remember they like those forces, or you get to be like or Tunisia, or you get to be think of another time period. Future? We're doing future too.
Ooh, future.
Do future, future wars. There was a game called Future Wars on the PC way back when,
I don't remember.
and I had a CGA monitor, okay, and I had this game.
Dude,
and I had
you bring
game
this thing.
Future
You
Wars.
bring this CGA monitor up with the 16 colors. You bring this thing
No,
up.
the CGA only had the 4.
Oh, the 4 color.
Yeah.
You bring this
There's
thing
like
up
cyan,
as much as I
magenta.
bring up the TurboGrafx 16.
Not nearly as much. And I remember, and I used to play this game with 4 colors, right? I got far. It was a point and click action adventure, right? My dad one day brought home a VGA monitor with 16 colors,
You've said this story so many times.
and I started the whole game over again. I had to. So good.
This guy's killing me right
I
now.
loved it. Mech Warrior, man, loved it.
Mech Warrior.
So that's the game, man. That's what we made. Oh, I didn't. Broderbund,
What about him?
Sandiego, man. They made Carmen Sandiego. This
Oh, did
combat
they?
school. Let me see what it looks like.
So you ran.
The arcades look so good. I love the arcade stuff,
I'll
man.
show you some cool stuff.
Show that.
See?
Oh, you broke it.
Oh,
You broke it.
I did. Oh, man. It rotated and now I hit something totally different. I'm a little upset about what's happening right now.
But I mean, the arcade
It's
looks
just-
good, man. I like the arcade. That lava lamp is. Let me tell you, man.
It's kicking.
The lava lamp is looking pretty good, man.
Ready, go!
You are just not.
Whatever. There's the cool scene. This is on YouTube.
So this is combat school. This is what it was called.
You have to jump up and then. But this was one of those games that you just couldn't play at home normally. So there you
Oh,
go.
you got this game? We can play this game now.
Yeah, we can play.
We should play this game.
See, but that's the thing is we don't have a trackball, and it's going to go on now. See, here's the target. See, and you use the trackball,
And do you have a button, right? There was a button you press?
Yeah. and it was just so much fun.
Wow, that person's good.
So anyway,
Dang, that person's pretty good.
it was a unique game. A lot of the games were like,
Side scrolling beat 'em ups.
side scrolling beat 'em ups. There were a
Yeah.
lot of one-on-one fighting games.
Right, yeah.
Actually, this was 1987. I don't think there were that many one-on-one fighting games back then. But you had some games. You had Strider in the arcade. You had Ninja Gaiden in the arcade.
Yeah.
You know,
There was good ones, man.
yeah, you had
There was
some
good
you had
ones.
some stuff, and it was just unique to see something like this, like boot camp, like what, you know, and that's so cool. It's not Bad Dudes or anything like that. It was just a different type of game.
You know what's interesting, Kenny, is that you and I haven't
was
gone on
fun.
a real rant. We did a little bit about cartoons.
Yes, yeah. Actually, it's kind of
know?
crazy. If you go to Wikipedia, it says the genre of the game is track and field. I don't know, but it's by Konami, who made track and field.
Made track and field.
So they kind of just did this.
Well,
and they
you
made
said that this
game
was
like Boot
this
Camp.
was a Marine.
Well,
tool.
it was
Right?
supposed
Like it
to
was-
be like the Marine boot camp.
Oh, okay.
That was
Yeah,
it. Like it's supposed to mimic that. It wasn't made for the Marines. It wasn't anything like that. But Centipede, Centipede had a trackball. That's right. Millipede, Centipede.
Oh, and if you're listening to this and you see you hear us answering questions, we're talking to people in chat. We're talking to the Spaz in chat right now. So, again, you can watch us live. Just, Twitch Monday nights. That's it. Kenneth, what do you think, man? I think that's
going to do for this episode.
For 77, I think that's going to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm tapped out. I don't know what else we should say about any of this stuff.
I don't know. 78 might have some good stuff in store for us.
Next week, yeah.
I'm hoping
we'll see.
we're closing in. We're on the last quarter of episodes on our road to 100.
We're in the last, road to 100. Is that a thing? We did that? Is that a thing we're doing?
23 episodes left, right?
Yes. That's how maths work.
That's how math works.
Yeah. All right, so look, that's going to do it for this particular podcast version of our show of Classic Blend. You can get all the videos where we do the actual reveals and all the stuff all every weekday, Monday through Thursday, and then Friday, this is when the podcast comes out. It comes out on your YouTube. It comes out on your iTunes or your Google Plays or your Stitchers or wherever you get your podcasts. It comes out there. You can get to us at Retro Squad if you want to drop us a line and say hello, or you want to, just say we're dumb, or you want to tell us any cool little tidbits that you thought of throughout the week about retro stuff. By all means, at Retro Squad. We do a show called Do You Even 80s Bro? It's an 80s trivia show, also on this channel. And
check it out and test your knowledge against Tom Cruise movies of the 80s or maybe 80s mustaches.
Oh, that was so hard. Or how about 80s slang or cereals of
those
the
aren't
80s?
up there yet, so.
Well, true, but who knows when people listen to it. Those are things that are coming your way. That's going to do it. So thank you very much. And, we'll see you on the next podcast.
Fact.